So welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about something that is really important. I get a lot of questions about towing, and I think the biggest question I probably get is, when will I need to upgrade to a dual rear wheel? So this is kind of a comparison really, and it's really this kind of give you some background on dually versus single rear wheel. There's a lot of misconceptions out there, and I want to discuss with you guys why and when you should choose a dually. So let's get into it. Really quickly, be sure to subscribe to JB Reviews and make sure you have those bell notifications on. And be sure to check out my other channel, Attainable Exotic Cars. Now let's get back to the video.
Now the very first thing we're going to talk about, and this is probably the most important piece to towing. Not the most important, I guess. Maybe this is one of the most important things, but it's going to be stability. So we're going to get outside. I'm going to show you a few things. There's always, you know, people say having the dual rear wheels helps with stability, but I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. I think that having this truck, especially the Ram is actually the best. I did a video on that when it comes down to being the best towing truck, because they go a little deeper than just giving you dual rear wheels. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. One thing you have to consider when you're looking at trucks is, will this truck tow my trailer with ease? Something I talk about a lot on my channel is fatigue. I think fatigue is the biggest killer when you're towing a trailer. After about 3 to 4 hours, you really start to feel like tired, especially when you can feel that trailer really pulling your truck. One thing that I love that Ram does is when you option this dual rear wheel setup on this truck, this is an option. They do upgrade your suspension to give you overload leaf springs. So you can kind of see it right here. You have these two overload leaf springs. They also update your Hotchkiss suspension system for the leafs too. So you have 5 leaves back here in the main leaf pack. Okay. Now this is going to be a high output Cummins. So this truck is optional with air suspension, which is going to add an enhancement too. You would lose the overload leaf springs, but that's going to give you that stability that you're looking for towing a big trailer. Now, because this is a high output, they do give you this additional leaf down below here. Now you guys can see it does have like a kind of like a rubber piece right here. Once these overload leaf springs make contacts on the bump stops here too, that's going to give you that stability that you're looking for towing a big trailer. So it's true what they say. Having the dual rear wheel does help with stability, but it goes deeper on the Ram trucks. Now, obviously having this suspension, you're gonna instantly notice a difference. Now, you have to obviously tow the trailer to do so, but let me show you a 1-ton single rear wheel to give you a comparison of the suspension here real quickly. This is gonna be a 3500 single rear wheel Ram, and here's your suspension setup. So on this particular Ram 3500, you only have 4 leaves in the pack here. So already out of the gate, your suspension's a little bit less robust than what you just saw on this truck here. So that's just something you really have to keep in mind when you are shopping. The other piece to this puzzle, this is something that Big RVs talks about a lot, and that's having a longer wheelbase. Most Ram 3500s come with the crew cab configuration with the long bed. That's majority of them. There is an option to get a mega cab with a short bed. Now the mega cab is going to have a slightly longer wheelbase in comparison with a crew cab short bed, but even to that point, you really want to consider this, because this truck, being as long as it is, it's going to have better stability to handle a tall and long trailer. And that's again was something that JD talks about on his channel too. But in my opinion, those two things together help this truck tow the best over a single rear wheel truck. All right guys, let's talk about tires. We obviously know having more tires on the ground is going to give you better stability, right? So the other benefit is when you do have dual rear wheels, so your max load for dual is going to be 2,835 pounds. So if you multiply 2,835 times 4, that'll give you 11,340 pounds in tire capacity just on the rear axle. So with a dually, you have more than enough capacity. Now they have a number here for the single rear wheel, 3,085. Multiply it by 2, that gives you 6,170 pounds. The other benefit of owning a dually is, God forbid, if you're going down the road and you blow a tire, having a single rear wheel, you could lose control of the truck. Having these duals, you have a lot better chance at keeping that truck in control. The other piece to the pie is going to also be control. Now, I don't know if you guys can tell, the braking system is different on the dualies in comparison with the single rear wheel trucks. You can kind of see this one here. The way that they even set up the system is slightly different from what you've seen. So the brake is kind of slanted down a little bit, and there's like a metal plate in front of it right there too. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let's take a look at the 3500 single rear wheel. So this is going to be a high output 3500, and you can instantly tell, guys, the braking system in the rear is slightly smaller than what's on the dually. In my opinion, a lot of times people are always saying that the brakes and everything are the same when you kind of compare the trucks. And as you just saw, that's not true. So sometimes you have to really look long and hard at the truck to see the differences. And that's the first time I've actually seen that. I actually really looked for that small piece. I know that they talked about it in the press release back in 2019, but this is my first time actually getting under the truck and seeing a difference in the braking system. Now, the next thing we got to talk about, which is the second thing, is performance. As you guys know, most of the manufacturers are going to give you the same diesel engine that you can get in all three trucks for the dually, single rear wheel, and with Ram being the only exception to 3/4 tons, they give you only the standard Cummins, which has less power. But with this truck, when you buy this particular vehicle, they do raise your rear gross axle weight rating up to 9,750 pounds. Typically on dual rear wheel trucks, they give you the option to raise the axle ratio on the rear from a 373 to a 410 for Ram. Now, if you are looking at a Ram single rear wheel 3500, you only can get the 373. There is no option to get the 410. Now, the last reason why you should buy a Ram 3500 dually, Chevy Silverado dually, or Ford F350 dually is because of the gross vehicle weight rating. Let's take a look at that real quickly. Whenever you crack the door open on any truck, the most important sticker you want to look for is that one. That way you have an idea of the options and features on the truck. You can look at that window sticker there first, and then you can look at this one and kind of figure out how these options are going to affect this sticker. Okay, so what I normally do is I show these numbers to you all the time. Now, the gross vehicle weight rating of this truck is going to be 14,000 pounds. If you're looking at a single rear wheel Ram, it's going to be either 11,800 pounds or 12,300 pounds, depending on the cab configuration. So with this truck having a 14,000 pound GVWR, one thing you have to figure out is how heavy this truck is. Okay, so what I normally do is I normally take 14,000 pounds and then I subtract your payload, which is 5,282 pounds. That's going to give you 8,718 pounds. Okay, so we talked about stability. This truck with no one inside of it, this is the curb weight here. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's the curb weight. Okay, this truck weighs 8,700 pounds. Now, if you take a look at like a single rear wheel truck, it's going to probably be about 77 to 8,000 pounds dry. Having a heavier truck is going to also help with stability, but I do believe that this is the most important piece to towing, and that's going to be your payload. So having a heavier truck, but not just having a heavier truck that eats up your payload, because as you guys can see here, this truck has 5,282 pounds. There's not a lot of trailers this truck can't tow. And that kind of completes this video by me saying this is the last truck you will ever have to buy. If you're buying a truck right now and you're looking to tow a pretty big trailer, this is the one you're probably going to need to buy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've seen guys towing 20,000, 25,000 pound trailers with single rear wheel trucks, and most of those guys will tell you that they have no issues whatsoever doing so. But I've towed with 3/4 ton trucks before, and I actually own a single rear wheel 1 ton, and after a few hours of towing, I do feel a lot better in my 1 ton than I did in my 3/4 ton. but I still feel that sway that you normally would feel by not having those additional tires in the back. You know, you talk about tire capacity, you talk about, you know, overall axle ratios and gross axle weight ratings. This is the true winner and the true peace of mind truck to buy. You don't ever have to worry about upgrading your truck if you upgrade your trailer when you buy a dually. So this truck is not only going to give you the best stability, the best performance, this truck is going to save you the most money because it's the last truck you'll ever have to buy. And that goes a long way. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of negative things about owning a dually, and I'm going to do a second video on that, so stay tuned. But in my opinion, this is the best truck to buy if you know you're going to probably upgrade to a bigger trailer in the future. But hey guys, I hope this was helpful. Thank you for your time and for watching this video. I really appreciate it. And we're going to talk about all the negative things about owning a dually truck that you should definitely watch before you buy. So there's one thing that I want to discuss in that video too, and I want you guys to think about it. There is one negative thing about towing with a dually truck that nobody talks about. I'm gonna go over that in my next video, and I think it should be helpful for people who are upgrading and potentially jumping into a dually for their first truck. See you guys in the next video.